Good morning. Hey guys, my name is, really? Am I gonna start with that? That's how long it's been since I've made a video. I don't want you to get the wrong idea that me not making videos is me not studying, because that's just not the case. But I'm back. I suppose this is going to be a quick update video, and then I've got another video to make to take care of some questions that some folks have answered me. And I'm trying to figure out the lighting here, because it's not super sunny out today, thank goodness, but it is still hazy bright, whatever that is. Alright, so there's been a lot happening. I know you've seen some new videos, but I literally, as you could tell from the same shirt in all of them, it's been about 2 weeks, I think, since I've actually filmed a video and updated you on my progress. I did take some time off, I'm not gonna lie. Why would I do that? I did take some time off when I was in Thailand and on my medical vacation, and then I took some time off when I came back. It's just a little rough to go from a very gentle, relaxing environment to a fast-paced, competitive city. It's not a China problem, it's a burgeoning, competitive city problem. And the problem is that I like these kinds of cities, so I keep living in them, but they are really stressful, and I forget that until I leave, start relaxing, and come back and go, and do all of that. Part of living in a city like Shanghai is that it motivates me to do all of the things I want to do anyway. But part of it is that it stresses me out because it's very intense to live here sometimes. So those are my reasonings. And honestly, I think learning comes and goes in waves anyway. And I'm not justifying my time off. It just happens. So there you go. I have not booked it, but actually while I have you here, let me do this. I'm going to make a definite note to myself. I am taking the HSK in December, no matter how prepared I am ready for it. There's a few reasons for that. So I'm making a note, schedule HSK 3 for December. It's the beginning of December, which is slightly terrifying because I would like a few more weeks, but I've got a schedule that I think will work, and I'll be prepared enough to take that, because the main reason I want to do that is because I want to take it and I want to move on to all of the resources that I've heard about, that I've wanted to use, but that weren't really good for super low learners. And once I get comfortable with HSK 3, whether I master it or not, I can start using those more interesting contents. And so I don't want to put that off another few months while I study the HSK stuff, which is very helpful. And I have it up for the next video I'm going to make. It's the Standard Course series. It's been incredibly helpful, especially, mostly, compared to the other things that are available for HSK 1 and HSK 2 level learners. However, it is not the most interesting content ever. And a lot of it is functional life stuff, which I don't really see as where I'm going to use the language I want to learn. So I really want to move on. So I'm going to push myself to get used to the stuff that I'm doing in the language, and the vocabulary in the language, to move on to the more interesting content. And I need there to be a deadline for that, because I need more interesting content. So December it is. I, again, don't really care how I do, but because it's a test, I do care how I do, and I don't want to completely fail it. So there's that. What have I been doing? There's a restructuring going on with my studying. Sorry, my mouse is about to fall off the table. Okay, so there's a complete restructuring, as there seems to always be. In short, I've kind of fallen off my Lightner box, and I'm going to get back on that because I do find that really helpful. But I found it really hard to get back into studying. And that's kind of the last thing to come back on. I haven't dealt with the writing issue because I do want to start writing practice again, and that hasn't quite gotten back on. The thing that has is with the standard course book, the listening. I printed up bigger font versions with more spaces in them of the transcripts to help me. I'm not even shadowing. I'm actually reading and listening. I'm listening and reading, listening and reading. And sometimes reading, then listening to see if I got all the words right. And funny enough, I'll remember the word. I'll be able to read the word more often than I remember what the word means. And I think that's pretty normal at this point. But I'm actually getting pretty motivated by doing that on a daily basis. And so that's been good. That's been really good. I was playing with it for a while. I didn't quite know the structure I wanted to do because I still haven't dealt with rushing through HSK 2, and I wanted to go back and look at those. So the basic plan that I have, I've got my stapled 6-month plan. And basically what I'm doing in August is that during the weekdays, I'm reviewing each chapter of HSK 2. There's only 15, so that takes care of 3 weeks. Also, during that week, I'm going to review the first 3. Each week, I'll review a different chapter I've already done in HSK 3. For example, this week, I'm supposed to be doing HSK 3, Chapter 1, and it's only Thursday, so I can still get that done in a day. It's just a review. It's a review of the listening transcript, so it's not that hard to do. It does just take one sitting. So there's that. So that's what's happening. I'm up to Chapter 4. Yeah, which is actually on schedule. I got ahead of schedule, and I don't know how I did that since I have one per day, but I'm up to Chapter 4 in HSK 2, and HSK 3 Chapter 1 I'll probably do on Saturday after my work week is over. My work week is 2 days this week. I like my life. So the next week I'll review Chapters 2 and 3 in HSK 3. Oh, that's the other thing I'm doing. I liked having more than 1 week for the HSK 3 chapters, so I'm actually doing 2 weeks for each one. Let me explain. I'm doing a new week with the chapter. For example, at the end of the month, I'll be starting HSK 4 for the first time. So I'll start HSK 4. What do I say that? HSK 3, Chapter 4. I'll start that one new, but I'll still be reviewing stuff in HSK 3, Chapter 3. The week after that, I'll be starting HSK 5 for the first time. That's the new chapter. And I'll be reviewing HSK 4. Chapter 4 from the previous week. So each chapter in HSK 3 is going to get 2 weeks. A new week where it's the main focus, and a review week where I'm continuing with the different parts of the chapter from that same chapter. With the main focus on the new chapter, but I still will have time for the old chapter. So again, 3 weeks of reviewing HSK 2. I keep messing those up. That's just fine. And then 1 chapter of HSK 3. Once I finish the review, then I'll start doing the 2 chapters of HSK 3. 1 is new, 1 is review. And that goes on until the middle of September. Then I will be at about Chapter 10 out of 20 in HSK 3, which feels like a good time to start reviewing some other stuff again. So that's when I'm going to bring in the HSK 1 material, and that should be really fast. Because even on the review day before I took the HSK 1 test, I was going through like 5 or 6 chapters a day and feeling really confident about understanding what was happening. So I'm only doing 1 chapter a day, twice a week, starting mid-September, and with still doing it for HSK 1, and then with the HSK 3, I'm still doing the new chapter and the old chapter. So each chapter will get 2 weeks. That continues through October and November. Oh, no, the HSK 1 review finishes conveniently at the end of October, and then November is just the HSK 3 stuff. I'll have 18, 19, 20. I'll have 3 chapters left by November, which is great. I'll have an entire week at the end where I can clean up the last chapter, do a practice chapter. I need to schedule another practice chapter about 2 months before. I don't like doing them just at the end of the book, but but I haven't quite done that yet. I need to make a note of that. I need to schedule a couple of practice chapters in. It's still really hard just to read the characters now as opposed to the pinyin when I don't know the vocabulary. So it doesn't make sense to do the practice chapters too soon, because if you don't have the vocabulary, you just can't do the task, and it's not a measure of your skill, it's a measure of your vocabulary, which I understand is included in skill, but it's just not the same. And then the test, I believe, is December 3. Because I'm not really doing anything with the writing now, I think I'll try to sign up for the computer-based one. I know it's only like 10 points for the writing compared to the other 190 or so points, but I don't want to lose those points because I will be able to find those characters in that computerized method, because that's what I'm using on my phone when I write the Chinese that I know right now. Is I'm using the pinyin input method, and that's what I foresee using in the future in real life. So why not use that during the test? So I'm going to try to find a place. So I might have to move locations from where I did the first 2 tests to the 3rd test. So that's what I've been doing. I've been focusing a ton on the listening. A ton. I'm still not able to get up to 6 hours of listening input per week because of a few things I'm doing with the listening and how much I'm listening to it, but I'm back into reading, and I'm back into listening, and I'm back into writing questions and thinking about it and being in the language for a certain amount of time a day. So I'm back on track. How's your language learning going? Tell me what you're doing. I am so interested in what other people are doing with their language learning, and especially if you're learning Chinese. And my podcast. I've got 5 episodes up, the Changing Scripts podcast, where I'm interviewing people about their language learning, both people learning Chinese and people who grew up with Chinese who are learning other languages. I've interviewed people from both sides. I even have one interview with 2 folks, one from each side. That was awesome. So I'll put it down in the links below so you can check that out. I put out the first 5 episodes, and now I'm interviewing people for the fall season. So that's also going really well too. If you are studying Chinese, or if you are a Chinese person who grew up with the language and are learning or have learned any other language, please contact me. I'd like to interview you. Sorry, I couldn't resist the plug. What can I say? It's part of this process. Is talking to people about the language learning process helps me with my process, because I hear things they're doing and I try them out, and sometimes they work, and that's awesome. All right, well, thank you very much. Yeah, more soon.